So my presentation is on Paris, population of 2.2 million. Their official languages are French and Basque. So before France was like a country, it was like this region called Gaul. It says Gauli here, but Gaul was another word for it. And Basque was a language that you can see here was mixed with Spain and then southern France. Now it's not a mix of like Spanish and French, it's its own unique language, it's just used in that region. And so before France was a country, there was still like this area called Paris, which is where Paris is right now, to this day. I think it's really important to know that before their independence, they had this monarchy of all these kings, right? And I'm just going to do a quick run through of every monarch ever of France that was used for many centuries, all right? So, yeah, those are all the monarchs. Sorry. All of the monarchs. Now you're probably thinking, where's Louis XVI? You forgot Louis XVI. I did not forget Louis XVI. Here is Louis XVI, along with Marie Antoinette. You've probably heard that name before. They were the last monarchs of like old civilization France before their independence. And they were imprisoned, and yeah, so the late 18th century, it was abandoned, the monarchy, and it became an independent France. Okay? Next slide. So the French flag was adopted on February 15, 1794. And just about 5 years before that was when the independence was, called Bastille Day. So these are the representations. Now, I found different representations of it, but this is one of them where the colors together, the meaning of it, so these are the people, and then meaning is like the king in the middle. But separately, this is what I also found: liberty for blue, equality for white, and fraternity for red. So for the attractions, I think that Louvre Museum is the #1 museum in the world. No museum beats it. Not even it's just the #1. You ask almost anyone, and this is the top one, regarded as the best one. And it has, because it has the most famous art pieces you probably know of. Of course, the Mona Lisa, everyone knows that. Venus de Milo, everyone knows that. And then some album by Coldplay. So this one is the Liberty painting, which is Bastille Day. So another attraction is Square Rene Viviani. And it's not exactly just this area that's as an attraction. This is just a smaller one I chose because I like what it has, what's right there, that arrow pointing at it. And it is this tree, the oldest tree in Paris, which was known to be planted in 1601. So it's still standing to this day. So here's the tree. Over here, it's just some concrete thing that makes it still stand. They just cover it up with leaves to make it look like part of the tree, but it's actually just a concrete slab. And then there's Eiffel Tower. So now food. Now this is called beef bourguignon. Yeah, and it's basically a beef stew cooked in red wine with bacon, mushrooms, and onions. Those are the 3 main things. And you just get a brisket as your joint, and you cut it in big pieces. And if it has fat on it, you keep that on because you stew it for a few hours, and it gets really, really tasty after a long time of cooking it. And then next food is ratatouille. Everyone knows this, of course, from the movie Ratatouille. And so it was always debated how to make the perfect ratatouille because there's so many ingredients. There's tens of different vegetables that are used. Different ways to cook it. The main argument is, should it be sauteed or not? So that's why, at the end of the movie in Ratatouille, it's oh, he tasted the perfect ratatouille, because his mom cooked it that way. So there's so many different tastes of it. And then another famous little dessert is chocolate souffle. It's basically like a chocolate cake, but like a mousse. It's like a hybrid, not exactly one or the other. It has like a unique texture. It's like very airy. It's not too wet, not too dry. Shouldn't be too, it shouldn't be too much like a cake or, like a chocolate mousse. It's just like this really nice mix. And when you dig into it, it's just like the moist and it's really nice.
And the perfect chocolate souffle is extremely hard to make. So even the most famous chefs mess it up all the time.
Yeah. So here are some just famous people you might not have known are from Paris that are famous in America. Emma Watson, Brigitte Bardot, and Serge Gainsbourg, they were singers together. Charles Aznavour, he was in one of the James Bond movies, The Man with the Golden Gun, and she was also in another James Bond movie, Casino Royale, and then Andre the Giant, a lot of people know of. And probably the most important celebrities from Paris, the Bogdanoff brothers.
It's your profile.
Yeah. So this is Igor and Grichka Bogdanov. They're quite freakishly known in all of France. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Okay, I have so many questions. I have to know everything. Why
Yes.
did they do that to their face?
Oh, you want to know what happened to their face?
Yeah. Why
So,
did they do this?
in the 1980s, they were, or the 70s even, they were the heartthrobs of France.
Yeah.
So they were like in this like soap opera.
Pre-surgery.
And then later on, as they're getting older, they just decide to get like Botox like all over their face to make them look, yeah. And recently they've been like in the news in France for like doing some kind of like bank scam or whatever. But they're interesting. They're weird. They're weird.
And at this stage they're together, fraternity.
Yeah, they're fraternal twins.
That's great
Yeah.
that they do it all good too.
Yeah.
What a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yeah.
Yay.
Thank you. Thank you for asking. I did more research on them than anything else.
Your profile picture.
Yeah, that is my profile picture on Canvas. Okay.
Any questions?